Hi, how you doing? Welcome back to Where Blades Walk. We're, of course, reviewing the defeat to Leeds. And our question this week is that defeat on Wilder? Questionable subs, our panel say. We'll get their views on all of that in a second. Plus, why are we reading so much hate for Tom Cannon? We'll get our panel to digest that as well. Plus, we're looking at the March fixtures. Are we settling for second place now? We've got 5 toughies coming up. We'll run through them and how many points will the Blades pick up. And we're also finishing off this week's video with a look at the relegated teams, and we're picking out the one fan base that we are sick of and we'd love to see get relegated. To stay tuned to the end of this 20-minute clip and see what the team come up with. We're delighted to have, obviously, Shax and Elliot back with us. And if you watch TikTok regularly, then you'll recognise Dan Sparks from that, who's joined us to review this this game against Leeds. As a neutral, I'm going to say thank you, Chris Wilder, first off, from me, for not doing what you did at Ellen Road, which was going defensive, and actually made this a game. I know these probably are going to disagree, but from a neutral point of view, we enjoyed it. Right, Shax? Who's to blame for this one?
Tricky one. So I genuinely thought we were better side first half, barring probably 5 minutes towards end of first half. I thought we came out second half, but we were still better side for up until about 70 minutes, 65, 70 minutes, which unfortunately for me, and I don't know if anybody else agrees, that coincided with substitutions. Now, the problem that I had wasn't the fact that we made substitutions, because obviously players get tired, things like that, but it was the personnel, shall we say. I thought Raksake, who is a naturally wide player, I thought we're hurting him. He were keeping Leeds full-back pressed him. I thought brereton-diaz, who plays very well off left-hand side, out wide, as he did in Premier League for us, were keeping Bogle honest. He were keeping him pinned back. And all that pressure that we had on Leeds that coincided with them being on back foot, that first 20 minutes, I don't think they come out of that fight, they're back third. I don't think they come out of that. And that coincided because we had width on pitch and we had players that they were petrified. They knew they could hurt us. They knew that if you switch that ball from a central position to a wide position, we could get at them and we could hurt them. Now, obviously, you've got to make changes when players get tired. I get that. But the Brereton-Diaz for Hamer, we've talked about it before. He's not a left winger. He can play on the left hand side of a 3, but he's not a left winger. And the right hand side one, which I believe were Raksake for Tom Davis, that one I was just sat in shock watching Tom Davis playing on right wing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. And then again, I don't want to jump on. I'm not getting at Wilder, but that's just what I saw. And then you've got. Then their fullbacks have then it's like we've given them a Christmas present. We've sort of said, well, you haven't got any wingers playing anymore now, so we can go and do what we want. And then sure enough, they just come at us for that last 15 minutes at will. And we ended game where Chowdhury were covering at right back. I get that, but he's a centre mid. You've got Souza is a centre mid. Peck is a centre mid. Aware is a centre mid. Tom Davis is a centre mid. Amer is a centre mid. We might as well have just played Cooper and 10 centre mids. Do you know what I mean? It was just like, to me, changing it needed. Chowdhury, I would have brought Holding on and put an L at right back to give that bit more strength. And I said, Andre Bucks has played for under 23s today. And I went to Watford away. I thought he was the best player on pitch, scored a cracking goal. He's a like-for-like swap for Raksake. I've talked about Brewster in past. I'm not his biggest fan, but even Brewster, I would have brought him on that right-hand side because he's got pace, he can get round a man, and he's into him, he's strong, he's aggressive. For all his faults, he has got some positives. And I just think we just missed the trick last night, mate. I don't know if these lads agree. I think we had him on ropes as a neutral mark. I don't know if you agree, but I think we had him, and I think we just played into their hands, making changes what didn't need to be made. Positional wise more than personnel wise.
Yeah, I mean, tactically there was very energetic first half, wasn't it? And I don't know, from my view as a neutral, I thought you just looked gassed on 60 minutes because of all the work you've done before. Elliot, do you subscribe to what Shax is saying about Wilder's possibly cost you that?
Oh, 100%. I thought we looked sublime for the first 30 minutes. Even even after our first goal, we looked like we might have dropped a bit of tempo, but we still looked like we pressed Leeds. We were stopping Leeds' counters down the left and the right. First half went in. I'm thinking, all right, decent. We could probably snatch a win here, if not a draw at most. And then to come out into the second half to see he's brought Chowdhury on, I was very questionable. I was just like, right, okay. I don't know what game plan he was trying. I don't know if he was trying to steady their attack or trying to boost our attack. In the end, it didn't work. And I love Wilder. I've always loved him, and I've never really said anything bad about him. Yes, he's had very good subs. What he's put on, which have changed the game. Like Campbell, for example, he's come on, changed the game from a sub that he's made. And once in every blue moon, he makes the wrong subs. And this was the game that he should not have made the wrong subs on. He should have stuck with the team for as long as possible. Like Shaq said, Holding should have come on, and El should have pushed to right back. I didn't see what his game plan was, and it just end of the day it kicked our own legs out, and their wingers Bogle was getting pocketed. He couldn't do anything. But as soon as we took away our width from right and left, they were pinging it from one wing to another and just catching us off guard. But it is what it is. It's a game that I didn't want to lose. It's a game we shouldn't really have lost, but it's just the way it is, really. But I've got, in my opinion, it might annoy a lot of people, but I'd say it was Wilder's sub choices which cost us the game, really.
Okay. Let's have a look at some social media takes. Archie says, we played well for the vast majority of the game. We haven't pressed aside like that all season. And it showed in the latter stages. We were absolutely shattered. If we take our early chances, it's a different game, really. Leeds were ruthless going forward. Adam says, I'm not too disappointed. They didn't dominate, just had a few good chances that were able to convert late on. We missed a lot of chances. That's just the way it goes. Right, Dan, welcome to the channel. I know you're usually doing shorter formats on TikTok, but what's your view on what the lads here have got to say and what you've seen on social media from the fallout from Leeds?
I think I definitely agree with them both that it's the subs that changed the game. The only thing I'd say, I wouldn't put as much criticism on Wilder. I don't know what else he could have really done, because I know in terms of the right back, Harry Clark, he was injured, I'm pretty sure. He went down like a couple of minutes before half time. So we were always going to have to bring someone on. I don't know about Anol at right back either. I think sometimes he's looked a bit stiff, potentially. I know we've done it earlier in the season. I don't think Chowdhury was the problem. It was BBD and Raksaki, which they've touched on. But we just don't have the bench that Leeds do. I know they had Ramazani and Yonto on the bench. If we could have brought them two on, I think we would have won that game comfortably. But I don't know what the issue is with Raksaki and brereton-diaz fitness. I don't think they can't play 90 minutes.
Yeah, it's strange now. Let's look at a couple more before we get on to Cannon. This is from Leeds fan. Fair play to you guys. You didn't sit back with 11 defenders and look for a 0-0 like some teams. This one says we lost to set piece FC, which is actually not true. Leeds actually haven't scored many from set pieces. We played all right. Wilder's subs were questionable as usual. Should have been more on and not Cannon. He offers nothing. More on that in a minute. We looked dangerous with JRS, Campbell, BBD, but he decided to change it, which backs up, I think, everything what you've just been saying. Were Leeds the better side across the two games? Checks. Have we seen the eventual winners of this league now?
I've said to you before, Mark, because you're allowed to lose a game of football. You can't play 46 games and win 46 games. And if you're going to lose, you're probably going to lose to better teams in league. And Leeds are one of the better teams in league. So we've lost to Leeds, we've lost to Burnley, we've lost to Sunderland, and they're the better sides in the league. So you are going to lose them games. And I said at Leeds away that they were class again last night. I thought we were brilliant, but I'm also going to say they were brilliant as well. That last 15 minutes, that genuinely felt like a Premier League game from last season, where we just we did not have an answer for what were coming at us, and that fair play. Like, you know what I mean? I gave some grief, of course I do, because the Leeds, but they're a good side and they probably are going to win league. I still think we're in it. I don't think it's not this 15, 20 point gap, what everyone talks about. It can change in a week. It's championship. You know what I mean? You can be looking at it on a Tuesday, you can be looking at it following Wednesday, 8 days later, and you're 3 points in front. That's why we love this league. But a fair play to them, you know what I mean? They're a good side, but I think we're a good side as well. I don't think there's a massive difference. You saw that last night. Of it, 2 games, your original question, probably going on a bit. Yeah, they've edged it. They were more than better than us. They dominated us at their ground. But again, sounds like I'm jumping on Wilder, which I'm not, because I love Wilder to bits. Just want to get that out there. But the first game that we're on Wilder, I'll give praise till cows come home, but that first game we're on him, we set up there to go and not lose, and it backfired. And then last night, I think 70-30 in our favour. I thought 70% of the game we were better side. Probably the last 30% of the game, took probably 5% in the end at first half. I thought they were better, but so of it 2 games, yeah, you've got to say then, but there's not as much in it as what. It's a 6-1 aggregate score, and it don't look much worse than that on paper. But I think from a neutral, if anybody neutral watched that game last night, you wouldn't have thought Leeds were miles ahead of us. You'd have just thought they'd beat us on 9. That's my opinion on that.
Cheers for that, Shex. Elliot, are you now resigned to finishing second then?
Well, I'd love to. I think we'll finish second. I think easily top 2. Everyone, I've seen a lot of our fans on Twitter. I don't know if Shax has and Dan has, but I've seen a lot of them say, "Oh, here come playoffs. Here come we're going to drop down now." We're not. Burnley is going to be close to what for us too. Sunderland, I can't see them doing anything. But overall, I think we'll finish second. We'll get promoted. Hopefully, with our new owners, we'll get a bit of money, be able to actually stay up a season, solidify a place in the Prem instead of getting a -100 goal difference, 16 points, and back down to Championship. But it's like Shaq said, it's a league that you can't predict. Anything can happen, really. But I'm hoping that we can put our heads straight after this game for next week against QPR and hold that second spot, really.
Yeah, I mean it's true, isn't it, Daniel? That if you win every game now between now and the end of the season, you go up with Leeds, and actually. The fixture we watched this week is a Premier League fixture next season. There's two things in your way, I think, in terms of your fixture list. One is a little trip to Hillsborough in a couple of weeks, and an Easter Monday clash at Turf Moor. Other than that, it should be okay, shouldn't
it? Yeah, I think. I mean, the main thing we're going to be looking at is how we bounce back from this result. I know we've got a bit of a different squad now. We haven't lost a game with BBD and like personalities like that. I don't think it'll be a problem though. Also, you touch on, is it like, are we guaranteed to finish second now, or like, do we think we're going to finish second? I'm not as confident. I do think Burnley might beat us to it. But I also think in the playoffs, I know our history in the playoffs is awful. But I mean, maybe when I was going down a dark hole last night, I was thinking about the playoffs. I don't think it'd be that bad. I mean, who's it going to be? Blackburn or West Brom? I think we are comfortably a better side than any of the people challenging for the playoffs. And then it's just one game at Wembley. And in terms of quality and what we've got, like Gus Harmer, Ben Brereton-Diaz, we've never had players like that. They're the kind of players that win you a playoff game and get you results at places like Wembley. So I think it would be different. And at the start of the season, people predict us to be in the bottom half. Like, I think we're getting a little bit carried away in terms of because of the position we are now. It's not a failure of a season if we don't go up.
Okay. Cheers for that, Daniel. Now, Sheffield United fans sometimes need a scapegoat once there's been a loss, and surprisingly, online following that loss, it was Tom Cannon. Liam says the amount of stick Cannon is getting is bizarre. I would have left Campbell on longer, but that's not Cannon's fault. He worked hard, which seems to be enough for some players to be lauded. He will come good. He just needs that first goal. Others, like Dr. Hugo Hackenbush, said, I've seen nothing from him up to now. Saying he will come good means absolutely nothing. Right, Shax, where's the hate from Cannon coming from, and is it justified?
Well, that second comment that you've just put on is as ridiculous as his name. Hugo bloody Hackenbush or whatever. I can't take if your name's not serious, I'm not going to take what you're saying serious. So I'm just gonna. That's my thoughts on that. Ridiculous. He's a young kid. He's coming into a new side. Wilder has got an history of spending a lot of money on average strikers, but I think to put Cannon in that category already is just sums a lot of our fan base up. To be fair, it's just bizarre. It's just ridiculous. What you're gaining out of jumping on a young kid's bike like that? What do you get out of it? What? He's coming to a new team. He's coming to a new system. He's coming into a team, a high pressure situation. Don't forget when you're playing at Bet365 for Stoke in front of about 300 people, and you've only got to come 17th, 18th, and you're happy. Football probably is a lot easier than playing in front of 30,000 against Leeds, first, second. You're playing in a title decider, you know what I mean? And then game before that, he played against Middlesbrough, another, if you class them as Yorkshire, Teesside, whatever they are, another derby game, massive game to drop him into. Again, he's playing in front of a full house. These are big games, what he's playing in now, and he's finding his feet. So let's just give him a bit of time, and just remember, he's, like I said, he's not playing at Stoke, which is just, who wants to be playing at Stoke? You know what I mean? He's not playing for them anymore. He's not playing for Leicester's under-23s or pre-season friendlies for Leicester. He's playing for a big club now in front of a big crowd every week, big expectations, big price tag. I dare say he's on a big wage. He's got a lot of things expected of him all of a sudden, which he didn't have in December. You know what I mean? He didn't have any of them things. He just had turn up, look a bit better than Stokes' other striker, who's probably awful. I don't even know who he is. And then you get away with it, but he's not going to get that anymore. He's got Tyrese Campbell, who is a very good footballer. He's got Kiefer Moore, who's proven at this level, got a promotion last season. He's got Ryan Brewster. We know my thoughts on him, but whatever, he's come from, Ryan Brewster's it cost a lot of money. He's come from Liverpool, so he's up against his competition now. All of a sudden, it's an hell of a lot more than what it were a month ago. So I'd get off his bike. Let's see what Wilder can do with him, and then maybe judge him this time next year rather than after 5 games. So Hugo, Hagenbush, whatever your name is, mate, just give your head a wobble, pal.
Cheers, Shax. Do you think it's his price tag, Elliot? That's Sheffield United fans haven't always been, the most sympathetic to big price tags. When you've spent money in the past, it usually means, fans want instant results generally anyway. But when you spend 8 to 10 million on a player, you probably want to see more than what you're getting at the moment.
Well, it really that. Yeah, you got a solid point. You'd expect if you spend over 5 million on a striker, you expect him to be scoring. But a lot of our fans, it ties in with the entitled mentality, which I said a couple weeks ago. They expect if you sign a striker for 10 million, he's gonna straight away be scoring 2, 3, 4 goals a game. But it's just not how it works. Like, don't get me wrong. He's in a different style of play. He doesn't really get the feed of the balls from either our left or right or the centre mids really. Or when he does come on, no one really opts to give it to him. But when I've seen him on the ball a couple of times, he's looked all right. He's looked like he's finding his feet. He looks like he could do something. And like Shaq said, he's most times I've seen him, he's always been in big games, like I said, high pressure. It's a lot of pressure for a young kid who's come from playing in a cold, rainy night in Stoke to playing at a beautiful downtown Bramall Lane. It just goes back to our fans that if we spend big, he's got to be this top tier, underrated, amazing striker. It's just not how it works. Give him a couple more games. Give him a season, really, half a season, and you'll see something different. It's just all about getting used to the game style, actually letting our midfielders, our left, our rights, to actually give the ball to him and let him do something with it, because he's good when the ball comes over the top to him. He's good with his touch. He can control it good, but no one wants to give him that. They always want to give it on the ground, which is 10 times harder to even control it, really.
No.
I think he can do what he can only do what he can do.
Okay. Just to balance it out, we'll look at one more. Jack says he was feeding off scraps last night. He won his free kicks, throw-ins and corners to relieve the pressure with his endless running. Takes some very unfair slack, in my opinion, most of which is based off the fee that we paid. This isn't his fault. Not had any clear-cut chances that I remember. Daniel, to settle this, which camp are you in?
I think that the Cannon hate isn't justified at all. I think he was our best attacking sub that we brought on yesterday. I know Harmer and Tom Davies don't really offer the same kind of thing that he does in terms of his pace and power and getting him behind. But I think potentially some of his hate came from Wilder throwing him straight into the deep end and the stubbornness he showed in giving him 90 minutes, especially against Hull. But I do think that was his best performance, other than potentially a turn against Derby when he got the assist for Ben Brereton-Diaz's goal. I think he actually finally showed us what Wilder's talking about in terms of his work rate, getting into channels. He was up against Joe Rodon, who I think was the best centre-half I've seen at Bramall Lane this year. Tottenham bought him for, I don't know how much, a few years ago. And he bullied him, I actually thought. But there was no service, and that was because there was no one behind him to give him the ball. So I actually thought he looked all right.
All right.
I agree.
If you are Tom Cannon watching this, or his friends or family, fully behind him, 100%. Right. We'll leave the Leeds game there and have a look at
Can we just have one mention in that Leeds game as well? I don't know if you three agree.
Is it going to be a Callum O'Hare mention?
No, it's not.
Okay.
No, it's
right.
you're allowed. Leeds' goalkeeper Melier, I think it is.
Oh.
Where? Who told him that he were a goalkeeper? Who looked him in the eyes and said, "You are a goalkeeper"? He can't catch. He can't kick. He's like, I've never seen a goalkeeper as scared of a ball coming in. You've got hands, mate. You just jump higher than the kid who can't use his hands and catch it. And I'll tell you what, if Leeds go up, he's got to go, because he is absolutely, I don't know if you agree, horrific goalkeeper he is.
There was a tweet, I haven't got it here, that said actually when you compare the squads, actually Sheffield United have got a better goalkeeper. They've arguably got a better midfield, and up front, when all things are going well and firing, they've actually probably got a collection of better strikers. It's only the defence, really. You could perhaps argue that Leeds are better at. So
keeper's not even in question. I could get a woman out of club shot that'd be better than him. Honestly, Mark, he was I've never seen somebody so frightened or a football. Just terrible. I don't know if you three agree, but shocking keeper.
He's got a very strong back four in front of him as well. Which leads me on to my last little bit from the Leeds game. Actually, Bogle got a lot of abuse. Was it justified?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Moving on. Next up is QPR. Let's have a look at the March fixtures. We're into March next, which is mad. Only 12 games left to go. Now, I'm a bit worried, I'll be honest with you guys, about just obviously how you've been doing, as we've spoken about in previous ones, and your opponents coming up over the next 5 games. QPR are strong at home, plus they managed to get back to a 2-2 draw when they were down to 10 men back in September. Then comes Heckingbottom, your old pal, with a very strong looking Preston side who don't concede many. Bristol City are fighting for 6th place. Your old pals Wednesday, and then a Coventry side who you had a bit of a run in at their place in the previous one, and Lampard's going well. So March is looking really hard, Elliot, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, to be honest with you. It's the only one I'm really concerned about will be the Coventry game or the Piggy game. You know, the other QPR, Preston, Bristol City, and Oxford. I could see us getting 3 wins and a draw. Coventry is obviously, you've got that what's his name, Norman Bassett. Yeah. I hate him just because he's just an awful human being.
He's not been playing.
Good. Keep it that way. Hopefully we get a win against Cov and a win against the Pigs. Well, we will get a win against the Pigs. It's the end of the day. Talk about their star boy Shea Charles. I've hardly seen anything on the highlights that was worth watching, to be honest.
Okay.
But I'd say it's a hard a hard run up. Really, probably the hardest. Like I said, probably it's going to be Coventry. Really, can't really see
Okay.
Bristol City do much or Preston.
Daniel,
Wednesday,
how many points, Daniel, out of 15? Needed.
If I'm looking, I mean, I think we'd probably take 11. Anything above 11, I'd be definitely happy with. I'd take 10 potentially, but obviously it depends on other teams. I do think games like, I mean, Coventry, I think, and obviously Wednesday, but we don't really seem to struggle against the good sides that are like playoff contenders, 5th and 6th. I mean, we showed against like Blackburn, Norwich. That to me is the same kind of game as Oxford. It's only really the top teams, because in terms of quality, our squad is just levels above Coventry and Bristol City, and I can't remember who else is on there. But I don't think it's a particularly big challenge. The main game is Burnley for me.
Okay, Easter Monday. We'll look forward to that. When we spoke to our Sheffield Wednesday team yesterday, Shax, about the upcoming fixtures, we were looking at them. They said, look, as far as the derby goes, Danny Roll doesn't need to do a team talk at all for that. All he's got to do is show that social media clip of Chris Wilder in a bar singing Sausage Roll, and his team talk is done. He needs to say no more. Do you think perhaps that was, in hindsight, an error on Wilder's part, that actually he's stoked up this accidentally, obviously not on purpose? The Wednesday fans are just going to use that and say, look, you disrespected our manager here, mate. You crossed a line. This means something more than it usually does.
Listen, if they've got a social media clip of Chris Wilder singing when he's had a drink to wind them up or to stoke them up for a derby, I've got quite a few clips what I could show to Sheffield United squad, and it'd be Sheffield Wednesday's highlights against Watford at home when they let 6 in, Sunderland away when they let 4 in, Friday night at Burnley when they let 4 in. Who else? List goes on and on and on. They're not a good side. Let's let you now. I don't. We don't need to. We just need to turn up. We just look at last night. We've lost 3-1 last night, but I know, everybody know. We play like that against them. Listen, they're getting smashed to bits. That's all that's happening. They are getting smashed to bits. And Wilder proved last night that he can get us up for games. He can make us play like that. It's just that Leeds were that good. Sheffield Wednesday are not Leeds. Mate, I watched them against Burnley. They played all right. It probably weren't a 4-0 game, but just shows you they've played well and they've lost 4-0. Do you know what I mean? Okay. That tells you what you need to know about them. So now they're getting smashed to bits. I'll put that on record.
Okay. Next week we'll obviously preview the Preston game as Heckingbottom returns to Bramall Lane, and then it will be the derby. After that. Right. Last question then on our lips this week, as we predict now the Premier League and League One over the coming weeks, is let's look at the relegation race. And obviously, this is no concern of yours, but we are asking every single team, which fan base are you sick of and would like to see the back of? We've narrowed it down to 9 teams. We think Preston and everyone above there are safe. Swansea and Oxford probably are safe too. But Daniel, starting with you, if I was to ask you which fan base, from a Sheffield United fan point of view, you'd love to see the back of, which one would it be on here and why?
I think personally, I don't have a strong opinion on any of them, but I would go with Luton just because of the season in the Premier League. I thought they got way too much credit than they deserved, especially considering I know when Blaze went over, we finished 9th. Leeds had a successful season, and I thought Luton were awful in the Premier League, so I have no idea why they got the credit they got, to be honest.
Okay. Elliot?
If you're saying based off fans, I'd say Stoke. They're just a bunch of wind-up merchants. Well, they try. They don't really get much, but I'd love Stoke to go down. I don't like them. Never liked them. Copied our colours. I just don't like them.
Okay.
But if you're on about team point of views, it's Luton. Obviously, they've just not settled. And to be honest, I'm kind of glad in a way that they're going down to League One after coming down from the Premier League.
Okay. Shax, who gets your goat?
I'd go Stoke. I've got a good friend who's a Port Vale fan, and I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Port Vale. So I'd go Stoke for that reason. And we have as a club, we have good relationship with Port Vale. Arblaster went there. Antoine Ackford is currently on loan there. And yeah, I've always had a good soft spot for Port Vale. Good old-fashioned club there.
Absolutely, yeah. You got me pressing the Stoke City button there as well. Right. Thank you very much, you three. Good analysis there. Let us know in the comments which team you'd like to see get rid of and why. And also, do you agree that Wilder possibly has just messed up on these Leeds games, or is that unfair? Let us know what you think. Enjoy your trip to QPR. I think it's going to be a tough one. This one, we'll review it, of course, in 7 days' time. Join us for that, and thank you very much for watching. Have a great week, Blades.
Cheers,
Thank you,
lads.
boys. See you later.